Hey, I really didn't want to have to make this video. This video is going to be a little different than what you guys are used to on my channel, but I'm going to be addressing the Acolyte because things have gotten out of hand. But before I start talking, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to try and be as respectful as I can possibly be. I'm not trying to spread any hate. Everybody has a different opinion about something, and we all need to respect each other's opinions. Whether we don't agree with that, that's fine. That's their opinion. Let them have it. So if you agree with me, then great. And if you don't, then you can leave, or you could stay and just deal with it. I've always focused on lightsaber spinning tutorials and unboxings, but I've never made a video like this where I just sit down and talk for a minute. I've always wanted to because I've always wanted to share my opinion and my views on Star Wars. The Acolyte is the worst Star Wars I've ever seen. I wouldn't even consider it Star Wars. It's a complete disgrace to the original story and disrespects and dishonors everything that George made and everything that Star Wars is supposed to be about. After The Last Jedi, a bunch of people really started seeing Disney Star Wars going downhill. I kind of looked past it just thinking, maybe someday it could be better. And then The Rise of Skywalker came out. Now, I personally think Rise of Skywalker was a better film than The Last Jedi. All it really did was just try to fix the mistakes that The Last Jedi made. The reason The Last Jedi did so bad was because they hired on Rian Johnson, a fantastic director, but he really didn't know anything about Star Wars. You cannot hire someone to direct a project who has no idea what the project is that they're working on. Rian Johnson did not do his homework and in return gave us the worst Star Wars movie of all time. And honestly, I didn't think it could get any worse.
Who are you?
I'm Rey.
Rey who?
Rey Skywalker.
You serious?
Stop hiring people who don't know the story.
Stop it.
Rian Johnson does not know Star Wars. Leslie Headland, I've heard, knows about Star Wars and has seen it, but apparently she doesn't care about it. She didn't do enough homework. So Leslie Headland's not the only part of the problem. Apparently there are people that are writing the show that have never seen Star Wars. Again, why would you hire someone on to write something who doesn't know anything about it? It's the same as asking an atheist to preach on a Sunday morning at a church. To put it plain and simple, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna go well. The Acolyte series showrunner explained how some of the writers have no knowledge of the Star Wars universe. I was honestly fine with the show. I was like, okay, the first 2 episodes aren't that bad, but when episode 3 came out, I was livid.
I've drawn the line! This whole time, I've been thinking, what am I watching? What is the purpose? What is the punchline? What is it?
And a lot of people at the moment are using the term Disney killed Star Wars or Star Wars is dead. I've even gotten some of those comments on my videos before. Disney owns the franchise now. They can do whatever they want. But just because they can does not mean they should. I do not believe that Star Wars is dead. George's original 1 through 6 and the Clone Wars is all set in stone. That's canon. That's never gonna change. That part of Star Wars is going to live forever. Disney Star Wars, on the other hand, has unfortunately died in the eyes of most people due to the Acolyte and various other projects. But the era that we live in now, whenever we spread that information online saying that Star Wars is dead, the younger generations are gonna see that and they're gonna believe it. I really do not wanna go back to the day where people got bullied and got actual hate for liking Star Wars. You got made fun of if you were a prequel fan. Now it's the same way with Disney. And I've seen some comments like, oh yeah, your precious prequels were treated the same way Disney's being treated now, so just give it time. Eventually everyone will like the Disney Star Wars too. No, I really disagree with that, because the way that they are destroying certain characters and the actual Force itself. Like, what the actual heck is this? The Force does not have a gender. No! Star Wars is not dead. It's just been derailed because of the newer wannabe Star Wars projects. I feel like now if you're a Star Wars fan, you're put into one of 3 different sections. Section number 1, you either love only what George made, which is the originals and the prequels, and of course the Clone Wars, but specifically those 6 movies, and you absolutely hate everything that Disney made. You don't even want to give it a chance. Then there's the Disney people that absolutely love everything that Disney's made, that are hardcore for the sequels and will defend them and defend, all the shows, but also love all of George's stuff. They just love everything. And I love that for those people. I wish that I could be one of those people because I also want to love all of Star Wars. But unfortunately, they've gotten to a point with the Acolyte where it makes that almost impossible because they're starting to go into George's original story and change things in there, like Anakin, for example. But we'll get to that in a second. Now I am not really on one side or the other. I'm in between. I am mostly over here in the George's original story. I love the originals and especially the prequels. Those are my favorites. But there are some Disney projects that I like. I like The Mandalorian. I like how they ended the Clone Wars with season 7. Bad Batch was phenomenal. Tales of the Jedi, the Ahsoka show, I liked it anyways. The last 2 episodes were a little interesting. But for the most part, I'd say pretty much just anything Dave Filoni makes is good. But the sequels, I'm not a fan of those. And there's some other shows that I don't like either. So I'd say I'm kind of rocking in between, but I'm more on George's side. I will accept anything from Disney. If it aligns with George's ideas, then I think it's okay. But if it's something like The Acolyte, I personally don't believe that's canon. I literally have a hard time believing that that is canon. Like, I do not want to believe that, and I don't.
I'm not believing this is canon!
I know so much about George Lucas' Star Wars to where something like The Acolyte literally feels like nothing more than just a fan film or a Star Wars fan fiction that Disney made with a big budget. So let's go back to the Anakin thing. Disney has officially killed Anakin Skywalker because Episode 3 introduces lesbian space witches that use the Force to get pregnant. What the You're literally taking the main character of Star Wars and you're ruining him.
Yeah, Disney's really ruining Star Wars. First it was the sequels and somehow Palpatine returned, then the Book of Boba Fett, and now the Acolyte! They just ruined the Chosen One!
Hey Disney, have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Thought not. It's apparently not a story George Lucas told you. He was a Dark Lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise that he could use the Force to influence the midichlorians to create life. He tried his best to influence those midichlorians to create life, but the Force said no! Because the Force has a mind of its own. So as a way to throw it back in Plagueis' face, it literally created Anakin. So Anakin was not created from Plagueis, but he was created because of Plagueis through the Force. That there was the reason he was the Chosen One. There was a prophecy of the Chosen One rising up and bringing balance to the Force. Anakin does that, and he is literally the main character of Star Wars. As Anakin through the prequels, and then as Darth Vader through the originals, then Vader turning back into Anakin, back to the light side at the last minute, fulfilling the prophecy, bringing balance to the Force. But now Leslie wants to change the Force, not just the name of it, because now it's apparently called the Thread, but she wants to change how it works. You can't give it a gender and then change what it means and how it works. So apparently these witches can now create life. And these 2 girls were created before Anakin, which means he wasn't the first. He's no longer the Chosen One at that point. He's no longer special. He's no longer of any importance. To basically screw him, screw George's story, he never even needed to exist. We got these 2 girls. It's literally the biggest slap to the face. It's incredibly disrespectful and incredibly wrong. George himself has said Anakin is the main character and he is the Chosen One.
Anakin is the Chosen One.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. You believe it's this boy?
And even when Anakin turns into Darth Vader, he is still the Chosen One. The prophecy is that Anakin will bring balance to the Force and destroy the Sith. He becomes Darth Vader. Darth Vader does become the hero. Darth Vader does destroy the Sith, meaning himself and the Emperor. He does it because he is redeemed by his son.
I know there is good in you.
So the prophecy is true. And by doing that, he redeems himself and goes from being Darth Vader back to being Anakin again.
When you mess up even that part of Star Wars, then you need to find new people to run the company. Kathleen Kennedy needs to go. She's needed to go since day one. She has no idea what Star Wars is. Well, I really appreciate you if you stuck around and listened to me the whole time. Thank you for watching the video. See you next time.
Now, I've said it before, but I'm going to say it one more time. I am not a Star Wars fan that just hates everything that Disney has done to Star Wars, okay? There's actually several things I do like that Disney has done with Star Wars. Like, there's a lot of cool things they have done with the Star Wars IP since they acquired it. But at the same time, I'm not going to be quiet when they do things that doesn't make any sense or they break lore that's just going to piss off us OG Star Wars fans, okay? I'm going to praise them when they do good, but I'm also going to call them out when they do crap.